Becky's time. Thank you very much. The gentlewoman from Vermont, Congresswoman Balint, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Before my line of questioning, I request unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from Government Executive that appears to run counter to earlier testimony.
Without objection, that'll be entered into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. According to this article, Mr. DeJoy, the union said it had regularly conducted carrier protection and community policing patrols to ensure the safety of letter carriers and other Postal Service personnel, which seems to run counter to what you said earlier.
All right.
Wish to clarify?
I stand by my statement. You can pick who you want to believe.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay.
What do you want me to say? We
All
have people that say a lot of things
Okay.
about the Postal Service.
Mr. DeJoy, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm from a rural state, from Vermont, and I know that the Postal Service is an absolutely essential service, not just to Vermont, but to rural America, and protecting the Postal Service is one of my top priorities in Congress. Now, according to Pew Research, 91% of Americans have a favorable view of the Postal Service, which clearly makes it the most popular federal agency, which is saying a lot. And Vermonters, like my community members, know that their postal workers are working incredibly hard in difficult circumstances to ensure that letters and packages get delivered on time. And I've talked to many Vermont postal workers and community members. We know that the postal workers are going above and beyond to make sure that our rural communities are getting their letters and packages, and I'm very grateful for their hard work. But despite these efforts, Vermonters are still struggling with service delays in mails and packages, and I want us to continue to work together to make sure that we support postal workers and ensure that Vermonters get their mail on time. Now, my concern is that, Mr. DeJoy, the Delivering for America plan calls for removing back-end operations like letter sorting from most post offices and relocating these operations to massive new sorting and delivery centers. And many Vermonters that I hear from on a regular basis, they fear that the opening of these sorting and delivery centers is a first step towards closing their local post office. So I'm wondering if you can assure the public that your plan will not result in reductions to retail operations or hours of service.
Thank you, ma'am. Our plan for the sorting and delivery centers is, in fact, something that's going to save service throughout the nation. We have a 50-year-old mail delivery operation that is geared for twice the mail and a tenth of the cubic volume with our package deliveries. Now we need to run mail and packages together, and we also have a terrible transportation system that feeds...
Mr. DeJoy, I'm sorry to interrupt. So I just want to get to the heart of the question, which is, will your plan result in reductions to retail operations or hours of service? That's really the question. That's what Vermonters care about.
So the rolling out this network will not result in reduction of retail operations.
I appreciate that. Thank you. The reason why I'm so fiercely protective of the Postal Service is because it's not just Vermont. It's rural America that absolutely depends on postal operations. Without continued attention to our rural areas, I really feel that our communities are going to continue to suffer. And this isn't good for the democracy, it's not good for our economy, it's not good for rural America. So I want to make sure, will you commit to maintaining the size and work hours of the postal workforce?
I could not possibly commit to something so broad as that. I wouldn't even know how to understand what you're asking me to commit to.
Let me rephrase, Mr. DeJoy. Do you understand that rural America is in a different situation with needing postal service?
So I understand. So now, if you put the question is in context with rural America.
That is exactly my question,
okay.
Which we're making sure that because
we are in fact trying to change rules with our union. So we are adding people into rural communities because we are well aware that we have problems in staffing in those particular areas. And there's a number of things we're doing with old legacy processes that we have and looking to, incentivize people to make deliveries. And in fact, the S&DC network will enhance that. There are better working conditions, it has further reach, so there are a lot of good things to do. But the organization is just genetically committed. It's not just, it's all the way up to management and myself, committed to servicing every address that we're supposed to service. And we've gone through a tough time financially and a tough time in the nation with the pandemic, and we're recovering with a great deal of energy and precision. And we know we have special measures now on rural areas that are hotspots that that deal with just the sound of trouble, so we could begin to start working on it. So we're very committed. I'm very committed, and rest assured, we're going to do the best job we can under the current circumstances to continue to serve in these areas.
I appreciate that. I want to just make it really clear that rural America is in a very different situation than many other parts of this country, and we need a vibrant postal service regardless of how many individuals are in that area. So thank you very much. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gentlewoman yields